Hello and welcome back to Shelf Center. This is Bryce. Thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for liking and subscribing. This is something you end up enjoying. You never know, it could happen. Hey, this is our top shelf news for the week. It's Tuesday, Newsday. Wait a sec. No, it's actually Thursday. Sometimes the news happens. You can't help. As Daniel Green, the man himself, says, fantasy news must flow. I mean, he knows best. So anyway, I wanted to jump into the most recent in book and media news as they relate to fantasy, science fiction, sometimes horror. So let's just jump right into it. First things first, we've got a number of cover reveals that I'm excited for, that I just love the artwork for, and I wanted to make sure and feature them first, right off the bat here. So first off, The Fate of Silent Gods by Scott Drakeford. This is book 2. The first book is Rise of the Mages. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard good things, and I wanted to make sure and mention it. So it's coming out here soon. Then we got a brand new cover for Tales of the Sun Eater. That is Christopher Ruocchio's short story collection in the Sun Eater universe. I love it. I mean, it's like laser swords. I mean, it's so cool. And if you haven't jumped on the Sun Eater bandwagon, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're waiting. It's amazing. Oh yeah, if you're like me, you're trying to finish up a bunch of other series so you can really delve into it. That's my excuse. But I have read book 1. Then we've got a cover reveal for Andy Pelequin's new book in the Darkblade Assassin series. This is Reckoner. And they look pretty cool, and I have been sorely tempted to jump on board. I almost did with the audiobook at the end of last year, but apparently, and this was news to me, figure might as well enter it into the news, the author himself just got the rights back to his own audiobooks, so he is in the process of redoing them. So the old audiobooks I didn't really want to get into when there's a new book coming along, and might as well jump in then. But I've heard great things, and I really enjoy following the author on Instagram and Twitter. Just lots of good insights for writers. Definitely worth checking out. Next, we've got a cover reveal for the sequel to a book that I already received last year, Sewell, and Jackie Davis and Katie Grierson, both illustrated by them and written, and it's filled with great illustrations, and it's hefty, it's beautiful, it's got a nice little ribbon bookmark, it's very fancy. So the next book is coming, and check out that cover, it's pretty cool. So I don't know, they're killing it as well, I can say. They've been very kind to send me that copy. Definitely wanted to make sure and announce the second book. Then we've got yet a new cover for The Lies of Locke Lamora. It's not this one, although I love this one. This one might be my favorite one. I do love the kind of rainbowy, shimmery one that I first owned and lent out to somebody I know and never got back. I don't know if I love this new one a ton, but it's fine. It looks kind of more like a merry band in the middle there. That's just like, this isn't Lord of the Rings. Like, it's not. It's more toward grimdark than Lord of the Rings, let's just say. Another Scott Lynch news. Speaking of Scott Lynch, he did make a comment on Twitter that is, or whatever X you want to call it, very promising. He got new author photos and then comments. So he responded to a commenter like, "Hey, I don't just get author photos for nothing. Maybe it's just for his new edition of the Lies of Locke Lamora. Maybe it could be, I guess. But hopefully, I mean, there are those novellas that we were told about not too long ago, and maybe the next book. What is it? Thorn of Emberlane. Is that what it is? The Thorn of Emberlane. We can always hope, but obviously, just especially with Scott Lynch, he's been open about some of his struggles and whatnot. I'm just going to be happy with what I get. I'm just going to be happy, okay? And just no matter what it is. He hasn't made any promises that he has then failed to keep. Just saying. Speaking of which, going to be yet another special edition for The Name of the Wind. And it's by Grim Oak Press. I love Grim Oak Press. It is just kind of like, with the kind of recent news and frustrations that I have, I am having a hard time because this is the second special edition in just a couple of months. while the author still hasn't provided his update. So, like, what the heck? Anyway, it just kind of feels like a slap in the face. Like, hey, I'll just keep remaking the same book over and over and over again. Don't mind me, and I won't do anything that I promised otherwise. Like, what the heck? All right, sad news this week. We did have a couple of just legends pass away, and one of them is Christopher Priest. This is just one of the books that I have, but I couldn't find my copy of The Prestige. The Prestige is amazing. Great movie, obviously, too, but what a great book. Just a huge, like I said, a legend that has passed away and a loss for all of us, but at least we have his work that will live on, and it's amazing. And I need to read Islanders, actually, so that definitely makes me push that up on the list. All right, another terrible, sad news. Carl Weathers has passed away. I mean, I know you've heard it before now, but man, I know everyone's posting about Rocky, and he's been in some legendary movies. Was it Predator? Is he in Predator? Is that what it is? Some of my favorites are Mandalorian. Most importantly, Arrested Development. His role in that is just like constantly just trying to pull money out of people is hilarious. Like, again, a side of Carl Weathers that just, it's so hilarious. Like, he has that side too, on top of being super awesome action star. So anyway, the world's lost some greats this last little bit, and it's sad news there. So speaking, we kind of made our transition to the medias. Let's jump into some medias. First things first, this just kind of came out randomly. This trailer I saw, it's called Tuesday. It's got Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Been watching some Seinfeld lately. Maybe that's why it's been promoted to me. Did you see it? It's pretty cool, and it's like fantastical, and obviously she can pull comedy, but man, can she, I don't know, it's looking really good for her more serious stuff. I guess I haven't really checked out any of her serious stuff before, but Seinfeld, Arrested Development, speaking of which, Maggie Lizer. But anyway, Tuesday, I'm all for it. It looks awesome. All right, this is one of my favorite TV series of all times, and it's got like the slightest bit of an update, so I wanted to make sure and talk about it. But Community has like the slightest bit of forward momentum. Donald Glover has kind of put, like, he's all in, so that's really the most important part. Let's be honest. The whole thing is they are all great. I love them all, but it looks like everyone's kind of in on making the Community movie, 6 seasons in a movie. I cannot tell you how excited I am, and just trying to like level off my excitement and my expectations. Because, I mean, just to have the whole gang back together, those last 2 seasons are pretty rough. I still think they're still great, but they're pretty rough without some of the main characters that you just love. Anyway, very exciting news, kind of. You know, the whole writer strike slowed it down. Of course, it's going to do that. But anyway, very excited to see some Community here. Hey, Editing Bryce here. There was some updates that just came in, so I had to add them in for the Community movie. So it is a little bit of a spoiler for the premise, so go ahead and skip ahead to what I have below if you don't want to be spoiled, or you don't want anything to do with the movie or know anything about the movie, but it's just kind of what the premise is. And essentially what Donald Glover said was this is going to be a college reunion, which makes total sense. That's why you'd get them all back together. But that Abed is some famous director in the Community world, and I think that's awesome. That totally makes sense. I mean, especially with what we saw. So anyway, how cool is that? I cannot wait. Looks like Donald Glover's in, and he likes it, and so do I so far. So it's got Dan Harmon. He's shown that we can trust him, even if he takes an involuntary break and comes back, and then he finishes pretty strong with, you know, again, what he had to work with, which was everybody leaving at that point for the end of the show. So anyway, very excited, and obviously he's proven himself with Rick and Morty and all that. So anyway, cannot wait. 6 seasons in a movie. Then this is pretty awesome news. Dark Matter is getting an Apple TV Plus show, TV series, with Jennifer Connelly, Joel Edgerton. It's Blake Crouch's book. I love his standalone books, and they're going to make a TV series out of it. It seems doable. Like, I don't know. I'm like, maybe just like a regular movie might have worked, but I guess we're going to really get into the stuff of, I didn't want to spoil, I almost spoiled it, but it kind of jumps into it pretty quickly, but I'm very excited for that one because that book is awesome. If you haven't read Dark Matter, you definitely should. All right, then I wanted to talk about Avatar, the new Avatar for Netflix. I've been talking about how excited I am for it. It looks really good. They just knocked One Piece out of the water, out of the park. And I'm terrible at mixing up my idioms like constantly. And there's a name for it. I might find it. Editing Bryce might. But they just made some comments that just, it gets frustrating these days where, I almost don't, like there's, I think it was at the end of like Ender's Game or something, there's an Orson Scott Card quote that's like, people are always asking me, what about the movie? Are you getting a movie made or whatever? And he's always, and he tells them it's already in its perfect form. And I'm really siding with that lately because these adaptations are getting out of hand and people are absolutely just, if you're adapting something that people love, like there's a reason you're adapting it because you have a built-in audience, right? Like there's a lot of reasons that are tied to that audience, right? And that's why you would be adapting it. Otherwise, you would be doing your own thing. So if you want to do your own thing, go for it. Tell your own stories in a different way. But there's been comments just about that are quite frustrating, and I'm sure you've read them, but essentially going like, hey, we're changing some key aspects of a character. And I get, making one less misogynistic, but it's like, that's part of the art. Like, why do we have to like clean things completely? Like part of the beauty of it is that a person can change, and that you like nobody's perfect, first of all. And part of an arc in any kind of like character arc is that they change, that they grow, that they learn, and you go with them and you go, oh my gosh, look at where they've come. Like, isn't that what we want in humanity, is for everyone to kind of learn and grow and get better instead of just write people off? It's like you can't even address certain topics, which just makes me crazy. How is so much, especially when it's a topic where it's like, this guy is going to get better. He's going to change, and he's going to change the ways that started out bad. What a better lesson for the world than that. Like, it gets frustrating that everyone tries to just, I don't know, like clean things up for the modern age because one person might get offended. But it's like, there's so many people you literally cannot not offend. You will offend in everything you do, unless it's like Bluey. Like, and do we want to watch Bluey? Like, it's great and fine, but it's like, is that all we want to watch? I have a feeling we want to watch more, unless it's like Cocomelon. Like, is that what everybody wants? And again, I keep naming things that are very popular, but does that make sense? Am I making any sense here? But it's like, if we're all just doing, like, if we're so offended or so afraid of being offensive, like, then why even make the things? Like, what is even the point? Like, why even have the things? You're gonna, like, to even make it entertaining, it's got to like have something that makes you think or react to, and that can be offensive to at least one person in the 7 billion people on Earth. All right, I'll get off that stupid high horse or whatever it is. Get off that pedestal there. Hey, in channel news, we reached 3,000 subs, so I got to schedule a time here, maybe sooner rather than later, of getting a live stream together. And it might have happened already. I don't know. We're going to see what we can do. But anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much for just kind of making, for making my dreams come true. This has been an absolute blast to chat, to hang out, to get to know such great people in a great community. I just cannot thank everyone enough for welcoming me in, letting me blab at you, and actually watching and interacting, and just making this such a fun community for me. Man, I am selfish, but also hopefully I contribute a little bit, and that's my goal here too. Is I have been reading for some time, as slow as I am, so I do love it. And I love what this brings to the table. Again, we're here for ideas. We're here to push, to have great stories, and great stories. Like, I just love interacting with people that love great stories as well. And so anyway, thank you so much for stopping by, as always, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.